So one of the last videos I did, I stuck 373 gears in and a tight nitrous converter. Well, we took it to a track rental and found out the converter company got it way off. The converter was so tight, the thing wouldn't RPM. So I have to change gears and the converter. Converter's already in the car, changed that out. Went with a different stall, and I couldn't just change the ring gear and let the converter alone. Those two have to be matched. If you went with a numerically higher ratio like I'm doing, your converter would tighten up even more. So we needed some more gear, more RPM, and this thing likes to live up high in the RPM band. So here we go again. Anyway, for those of you, you may already know how to do this. This is just a little simple illustration on the differences in the ring gear and the carriers or spools that you may have. If you're not used to changing rear gears, it's not something as simple as just ordering up a ring gear and throwing it together. So I wanted to illustrate a difference here. So this spool is a Series 3 strange lightweight spool. They're both strange lightweight spools. The Series 3 with a 373 gear that I had in the car. It says 3 passes on it. We have to go to a Series 5 with the 410 gear because the 410 gear is a thinner ring gear. Let's see if you can see that there. It's about a 1/16 of an inch. So if you look up here, you see on the white background back there, go from the Series 3 on the left to the right to the Series 5. That's about an 1/8 inch difference. The Series 5 flange is moved forward towards the pinion for the thinner ring gear. Now, if you put the 410 on your original Series 3, it's going to be too far away. I did that for my own purpose to check the backlash, and it was 85 thousandths. There was no more getting anything out of it. But what you also have to watch is the Series 3 carrier will fit a 410 gear. It'll fit a 354 to 410 Spicer gear. Well, do a little bit more research. This is a 410 Richmond gear. Not gonna work on the Series 3. So that's why I had to go with Series 5, which would be a 410 to 650 Richmond gear or a 456 717 Spicer gear. So that's just the main difference, you know, in throwing a ring gear in. You got to also watch what you're putting it on too. Another tip, always watch the thread that you have in your ring gear, because this is a thinner ring gear than this one. You're gonna wanna watch the distance here, because even though your flange is the same, ring gear is thinner. Bolts are gonna be a different length. So ARP, I got these from ARP the other day. They are a 200 3001. They're a half 20. They're for a Dana 60, and they came in at 1.50 inch underhead length. The only other option was a 750, which is 3/4 of an inch underhead length, and that would have been too small. 1.50 inch was too big, so I needed a 910 with the flange thickness and the thickness of the ring gear, how that fits down inside there with the thread. So there's something you got to watch. Chuck them up in the lathe if you have one, cut them off, use a cut-off wheel, whatever you got to do to get it to work. The other tip, now this tip is not mine. This is from Strange's website. Great bunch of guys over there. Remember, Dana 60. You have to set your pinion depth, or I'm sorry, your preload with shims that go right here. So you're pressing this bearing on. When you slap this pinion in, you're drawing this pinion tight up against the shims here with a nut and the yoke. Well, if you don't have your preload set right, guess what? Nut and yoke got to come off. Now you're going to have to pound on this shaft here to pound it back out of the bearing. And I just don't think that's a good idea to be beating on a bearing like that. So what they say to do Just take about a half to thousandths off there. That's what I found worked the best for me. I chucked it up in the lathe like they say, and just put some emery paper on there. Now, if you don't have a lathe, well, you can figure another way to do it. And you can see how that just slides right on and off there. Makes it super nice. The other thing is the other race for the other pinion bearing. Same thing. You got to pound this in and out every time you want to change your shim stack for your pinion depth. So I once again chuck this up in the lathe, took 2/1000ths off the outer race, then it just slips in and out. Just another good little tip to make it real easy on you for changing this stuff over, because it can get into some time consuming let's say delays, if you will, because I'm sure other people have things to do, so you don't want to spend all your time doing this. But I just figured I'd show you the differences